Many people believe that journaling is for those who have bad memory, people who don't remember what happened in their life. I've been journaling for quite some time now, but mostly on and off. I started journaling at like 15, 16. I still have my journal from back then. And then I stopped for a couple of years and then I journaled again. And then I stopped. And then I had like a 10-year break, I would say. Like I wasn't journaling at all. And just recently, I started journaling again. Not for any other reason other than I went through a traumatic experience about 3 years ago. So for me, it was a way of expressing my feelings, I would say, of being out of my head, because our head is meant to create ideas, not to hold them. And even bad ideas and memories, I was really inclined to write them down as opposed to just keep them in my head. And I have a lot of kids, so I need to write down what happens on day-to-day basis. When you divide kind of your attention between your children, it's good to write down things that happen, things that you memorize, things that made an impression on you, things that they said. And if you ever did day-to-day journaling, I believe your life feels that much longer and with that more experiences as opposed to whatever you have a memory of. So if not for any other reason, then for this reason for sure. It's called Homework for Life. The idea is not from me. I heard it from a writer whose books I enjoyed, and he said that your life is actually very exciting and everything that happens to you day-to-day basis, even the most mundane things, seem so unimportant to you because I'm sure you have major problems to be dealing with, but they are actually important, those little things. And when you write them down, when you keep a journal, and then you go back and you read it, it's definitely going to have an aha moment. Oh, I forgot that this happened. Or, oh, this is funny. I should really tell this to my kids, what they did on this particular day at this particular age. In this video, I want to go over the benefits of why you should journal and why you should start today and not wait any longer. One of the reasons is self-awareness and reflection. It gives you a possibility to reflect, as I said before, as to what happened in a particular situation. If you got into any kind of conflict, if anything major happened in your life, then you should definitely try to record this. And when you read this further down the line, you will see how you reacted, how you healed, what did you feel at the moment. It's going to give you such a good insight as to who you were as a person a couple of months ago, a couple of weeks ago. I'm hoping you are growing, you are constantly getting yourself better and evolving. And journaling is one of the way of kind of keeping track of that and seeing at yourself from another point of view as an outsider. Emotional clarity is another major positive point when it comes to journaling. You are definitely going to have that much more clarity over any particular situation if you are journaling. Anyways, writing things down is always a good thing, no matter how you do it. It really needs to make sense only to you, not to anyone else. Any kind of journaling that you do needs to make sense to you, even if you do abrupt sentences. It doesn't need to be coherent. It doesn't need to be readable for anyone else other than for you, unless you want to leave them as an inheritance. But other than that, your journaling is your private thing and you should really keep it to yourself. Another important point is you can track progress, so you can actually see what was done on a particular day or what were your goals. What I did is, and it was such a weird realization, I wrote down in my journal my business goals for my business. Like, I want to be managing that many properties. I want to be doing this and that. And when I went back, like 6 months back, I opened the first page and I see business. And in the business column, I wrote, have 2 more properties to manage. And, I heard somewhere saying that the only reason why we don't see progress, it's because we keep raising the bar. So the minute you reach the particular progress, you right away start raising the bar. I can do more, I can do better. And then I had a note here, which I did last year, says 2 properties. And as of today, we have 4 more properties for a business to manage. I know it's not a lot, and for those who are in the same type of business, we do property management, know what stands behind it. But generally, we really are raising the bar too high most of the time, and we should really, reflect from time to time. And journaling is one of the best way of reflecting. I made that note, and 6 months later, I achieved slightly more than that. We achieved, me and my partner. So for me to not be grateful, and for anyone else in the same situation, the only reason why we don't see our progress is because we keep raising the bar every time we reach our goal. But if you go back and if you made a list of what you're trying to achieve or what you're trying to get done this particular month, this particular week, and you got done at least 50% of it, you're winning. You're on top of your game. It enhances your problem-solving skills, because any problem, if you break it down into what can I do, how can I act? If you write it down, it's going to give you that much more clarity. And if you always do that with any kind of problem you are facing in your life, you're going to become like a pro at it. You're going to be so good at solving any problems that come your way, then you are going to be that much lighter on your feet in a Zen mode, that you will not be bothered by many of your problems, because you're thinking, okay, I have to just write it down and see what's out of my hands and what's in my hands, what I can control and what I cannot. So problem-solving skills, and I can definitely attain to that, is one of the main things that I improved since I started journaling, like on regular basis. Journal will put you into a habit. This is an extremely good habit to have. And if you're trying to write a book, or if you're trying to start a newsletter, or if you're trying to write something on a regular basis and be creative, even if you're not trying to write something, having one consistent habit in your life will definitely set a precedent for you being able to acquire another habit and another habit. Maybe you're struggling with, you have to always go back to the basics and think, oh, but I have already one good habit in place. I'm sure it's not going to be that hard to acquire a new one. So it teaches you how to set up your habits if you are doing something consistently every day. Gratitude and positivity, you have so many things to be grateful for. So when you write them down, it gives you definitely a lot of info and a lot of insight as to what you have going on in your life and what you should be grateful for, and how you should be more positive and be much more open and be much more happy with where you are. Write down a list of friends that you have that you're grateful for, a list of physical things. I'm not opposed to being grateful for the physical things, because this is what brings comfort to us in this day and age. And I'm a minimalist. I'm really learning and training myself how to be one. But what I'm trying to say is that when you write down the things that you're actually grateful for, even if it's physical possessions, that's going to be such an eye-opener, because you're going to realize that you have a lot of things, a lot of friends and a lot of family and children and people that love you that you should be grateful for. So definitely my mind is more positive and I'm that much grateful just because I write down. I literally write down and I can see, oh my God, I have 7 very close friends that are here for me and that are supporting me, and I'm grateful for that. I have 4 healthy children, 5th one on the way. I'm happy. It definitely puts your life into different perspective, and you look at journaling different way. You will learn to appreciate the little things that come into your life. There was a research done by certified psychologists that confirmed the fact that people who went through a traumatic experience and people who write it down, and I can attain to that because I was doing that. If you write down everything that bothers you in the moment, even if you're grieving, everything that you miss, everything that you're trying to fix, it's so good for your mental health. It brings so much peace and it actually heals you. So if there's anything in your life that requires healing, that requires your mental presence, you should really write it down. There's another study that was done about the positivity of self-reflection, self-awareness, being more attuned with what goes on inside of you as opposed to what goes outside of you, because you can control and monitor what goes on inside of you. So for you as a person who's trying to grow mentally, who's trying to grow their positivity and being more outgoing, being more happy, not necessarily anything else, writing things down and journaling is such a great opportunity and such a great way of expressing yourself, of being true to yourself, and of growing. I started journaling and I realized that I'm much more compassionate towards other people. I have that much more empathy. You become kinder. because you see yourself from the outside as an outside person.
I always thought that journaling is pretty boring. Not until I discovered a very cool way of doing it. And I don't know if this might help you, but maybe we become boring with journaling is because we identifying it with telling what happened to us, like a life story. But a lot of times I use my journaling as to what I want to happen to me. You don't have to necessarily stick just to like updates. It's not like a report. It needs to be more as an inspiration. You need to feel inspired to journal. I don't always wait for the inspiration to find me. I try to inspire myself. There's an old saying that if you don't have an appetite to eat and you need to eat, start eating. The appetite will show up at some point. Same thing with journaling. Just start writing something down. You can start with the date. I sometimes start with what if today was the last day? What if this week was the last week? And I don't always go at that extreme, but a lot of times I would try to put myself in a situation where I know that I should be very grateful. I have any doubts, I go over my journaling and I see, because I write all my family members. And so what I do is my particular way. So I start obviously like with children, a little bit of about myself. I have a page dedicated to each person I want to write about, or each event, or each thing, or each hobby, or anything basically. So I have it, my hobby, I have Sashuka, which is my older son. So each page basically has some kind of meaning to me, and I don't necessarily follow a particular pattern. I can start at the middle of the journal. Maybe you're too afraid because it's like first page reminds you of first day of school. You don't even have to do that. You can do from the middle, you can do from the end. I started from the middle because I was so like paranoid to start a new journal because it's a new country, new experiences for me. But yeah, this is what I do. I don't use it as a I have to sit and necessarily write a paragraph. It doesn't need to make sense to anyone but me, because this is only for myself. And it doesn't matter where you start. It doesn't need to have any dates. You can write the date on your own. You can get the most simple one. I got this off Amazon, nothing crazy. But yeah, just my 5 cents on the topic.
There's a couple of negative things I would say to journaling. Not negatives in a way that you shouldn't be journaling, just like you should be able to control it. You should be able to control your impulses and not necessarily go down the memory lane and reminisce. Make sure you don't use your journaling as a way to hold on to your past. Make sure that just releases whatever you felt years ago and whatever you went through. So don't use it as a tool to go back and scroll back and look through what you went through, your emotions, the person you were with at that moment. Journaling should be used as a tool as opposed to like story you want to reread. Make sure you're very private. If there's things that you don't want other people to know, don't just leave your journal out there in the open space, because people are curious, and whether you like it or not, someone's gonna tend to open it and be inclined to read it. So if you really want to keep it private, make sure you have a lock on it, or you keep it somewhere where no one knows.
Like, I would never leave my journal just like that on the bed, because then anyone is inclined to read it. It doesn't matter what I share in it. It's private. I usually just put it in my closet and keep it right there.
Definitely will help you feel more secure with what you're sharing on those pages. Other than that, journal. That's one of the main points of this video. Please do comment, how did journaling help you, and what kind of journal do you keep, whether it's digital or hard copy? Let me know, and I'll see you in my next video.